What's up, everybody? I'm back with another beat breakdown. I don't even know what episode number this is. Probably like 7 or 8. Um, but I'm going over my beat from last week that I titled Slender Man. That's what we're on today. Let's hop into it. All right. So, first things first. I've kind of switched up, not even switched up my approach to things, but I've been kind of trying to help myself a little bit by getting loops online, right? I was always against that at first, but it's just one instrument, so why not help yourself a little bit? So this one I got from, as you can see right here, looperman.com. Cool website, you know. But this was the original loop that I started with. So as you can tell, once I got rid of that EQ, there was a lot of, white noise and stuff that I don't find too appealing. So all I did was add this simple EQ, high cut, low cut. And usually when there's white noise, it resides in the 4K to 10K range. And, obviously it's present above that, but that's where it really goes to where once you cut it all out, it's not there anymore. Hold up. That was nasty. All right, so yeah. So I cut everything above that and then everything below 200 about, or 150 I'd say. And then this is what the difference is. So, just tighten it up a lot more. And then with that, I made it half the speed. So basically what you do is on Logic, you do Alt and then take it out double. So just like that. Process is right there. So then after that, I made that the intro. Right? So this is what it is, half speed. Right? So like you can hear a little bit of like a little glitching, right? That's just the spreading of the audio. Sometimes that happens, but in this case, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I kind of liked how it sounded. It added a little bit of grittiness to it, so I didn't mind it. So what I did was I had that go, and then on top of that, I panned that to the left, and then I had the main loop, which was the first one we heard, a little bit to the right, and then I had that come in towards the last two bars just to get it, more excited as it drops. So this is what it sounds like from there. Right, so you really hear that, and that's what I was going for right there, just to get it in. And with these, when I'm getting loops online, I don't really go too crazy. I just do what I feel like needs to be done. Like in next week's video, I already know which one I'm going to pick because it's my favorite. But that one I did a little bit extra to. This one I kept it really simple because I didn't think that it really needed it. Just the EQ, that's all it needed. After that, I did this grand piano right here. Right, that's what it is. It's just the low note. Just to add a little bit more bass to it. Right. And yeah, that's just the root note at B, and it plays every 4 bars. So then on that, the main thing I did here was this pitch shift, right? So like it didn't really line up perfect at first, so I just did it 9 - 9 cents of a little detune, and that's what happens when you get these online. Detuning is something that's really common, so you're probably gonna run into that. And on top of that, whenever I do the low grand, I always cut everything below 200 because it has a real presence in that low range. You don't want that to interfere with the bass. So you can hear the difference there. And then I just added the little radiator, add a little saturation to it, at a 40% mix. And on top of that, just reverb. Really simple. After that, I had this synth right here. Here's what it sounds like. So that is kind of like a pad kind of thing. This is like, other than the main melody, this is the most important part to the beat, in my opinion, because it just adds that feel of like eeriness, kind of like what's going on, da da da, stuff like that. So on top of that, I just cut out the lows again, basically the same exact way as the grand piano, and then added the little radiator again with a lot more of that heat to add a lot more of the saturation and that sound that it gives. But I put it at a lower mix because I didn't want it to overpower the sound. And then on top of that, just reverb and delay. After that, I had a Rhodes piano to play some of the chords, make it more impactful every time it drops. So that's what we got. Right, so we had pretty basic loop, so it didn't really change chords too much. But one thing you can notice here is I took the above F sharp and I dropped it low, and you could tell immediately that it's down there because it just adds a little bit more of a feel to it, right? So then I kept it down there and took the highs out later just to change the feel a little bit, and then went to that last chord so it hits even harder. And on top of that, cut everything below 200 and little radiator. See, less heat, more of a mix, because we really want that saturation feel without it being overpowering, right? And then on top of that, just reverb and delay. I'm sending all my instruments that are being sent to reverb, I'm sending them all to the same reverb to not muddy up the space too much. So here's what that sounds like. So that's pretty much all the instruments. Other than that, I had this walkie-talkie kind of sound effect that I wanted in there. It goes like this, with some reverb on it. And that's it. That's all the music that I used. Right? So then after that, all it was drums. Okay, so first thing I added is the snares. So here's what we got. I started with this one. Then I layered it with this one. Then other than that, I just had these filler snares, which were lowered a little bit, but they pretty much just reuse this snare right here for this. Then I have this rim shot right here. So this is the snare pattern. After that, I did the hi-hats. So here's what I like to do with hi-hats is create like a basic, little flow with them, and then expand off the flow. So here's the basic flow that I started with at first. So obviously right there it'd be da-da, but I cut it out. So then here's the other snares, or other hi-hats that I have with it. as you can tell, they're both kind of working with each other. They're not like going against each other. And that's what I really go for. I felt like a lot of times when I first started and when I was really trying to find my flow with it, I would do so much that it would just be like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? So I like to really only put things in certain places when it's necessary, right? So that's what I did with this one, and I feel like they complement each other very well. So then after that, I added some open hats. So that one pretty much plays at the beginning of every one. And then I got another open hat right here. Just to add a little bit extra hype to it, you know? So, and then after that, I added this laser effect. This was my first time using it. I've seen other people use it. I'm still getting it down, really. Excuse me. But this was my first time using it in a beat, and I actually like how it turned out. Right, so it just plays like every couple bars, you know, just like that. So yeah, after that, you already know what it is. It's the 808. So with this one, I wanted to keep it pretty consistent. You see right here, this pattern, you know, every couple bars it goes right back to that pattern. So that was the one that I was really replicating. And this is how the 808 sounds. So yeah, you can tell with this one, um, I wanted that dun 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 right to happen every two bars, and not a lot of variations, right? Because this beat is more of like a lyrical beat, you know what I mean? So like you don't need a lot of crazy instrumentation. It's just just complement what's gonna happen in the lyrics. So keep it simple. I got the dun dun right, and but always towards the end of like the four bars, I always like to give it a little extra sauce at the end. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we do this. It's just a little extra vibe to complement the beat and stuff. So then, upon doing that, I did the kick drum, which is pretty much the same replica as the 808, but the 808 but the kick drums just play a little extra sometimes. So that's pretty much it. Y'all can hear this effect that I used right here as just like a drop effect. It's kind of like a wind sound. Like I wanted something that was really airy. So that's what it is. I just cut out a lot of the lows. And some of these, like right around the 1K range, because they were a little too much. Then I shifted it down 3 semitones because it was a little too high at first. Then other than that, I just had this swoosh. That was really cool one to use. I just focused in on this 200 to 800 range. That's what it sounded like originally. And as you can tell, I didn't like that tone, that sing, like whatever that was. You know what I mean? I didn't like that. So that's what most of the EQ was trying to do, is cut that out. And then I added some fresh air at 100 and 100 because I'm cutting out a lot of the mids and highs, but I wanted it to still have that air sound. So that's what I did with that. And that's pretty much it with the beat. See, like a lot of these, again, this one was my most popular last week, and as you can tell, there's really not a lot of mixing into it. A lot of the producers that talk to me, they're always saying like, "Oh, I want to get better at mixing," like da da da. They're always really obsessed over the mixing, but I feel like the main part of producing It's just knowing what you want to hear. And a lot of producers who are just producers have that down already, right? Um, and this just goes to prove that you don't need a lot of engineering and shit, right? Because I'm an engineer artist first, and going to the producing side, I always felt like I needed to go extra, do crazy shit, right, with the mixing part. But a lot of the stuff that does the best is when I'm not focused on the mixing, I'm just focused on the overall feel of it, right? So don't stress out if you're not the best engineer. Just have a good idea about what you want as the whole, right? Once you hear the first sample or once you come up with the melody, stuff like that. Because a lot of times it'll sound great. It'll sound just fine. And me as an engineer, someone who, works with artists all the time, I end up engineering the beat after the fact anyway if it's got something that's crazy bad about it. So a lot of times engineers can fix it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, don't get down on yourself if you're not the best at mixing. Um, this goes to show you that it's only where you need it, clearing up certain space for certain things, isolating some space for certain things too. But, that's it. Yeah. This beat did great last week. Um, so, yeah, not a lot of mixing went into it. But that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this beat breakdown episode. Slender Man. Yeah, I'm gonna be back next week with another one. I think you guys know which one I'm gonna do. This one's my favorite ones. I'm not gonna tell you the name yet because it's out right now. But yeah, I'll be back next week with another one. If you enjoy these videos, leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you like what I'm talking about, if you agree with what I'm saying, especially if you disagree. If you disagree, I would love to hear what you think, So leave a comment, reaction to this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.